It's all fun and jokes until you make millions of dollars from it. This is the story of René Lacoste, the legendary tennis player who turned a small joke into one of the most iconic luxury brands in the world, Lacoste. He went from casually branding his shirt with a crocodile to building a fashion empire that would later define generations. But how did this joke begin, and how did he turn a nickname into a multi-billion-dollar brand? René Lacoste was born on July 2, 1904, in Paris, France. His parents, Jean-Jules Lacoste and Jean-Marie Magdalene Laure, were members of France's upper class. René could have chosen any path, but what truly captured his heart was tennis. At just 15, he fell in love with the sport. His father, however, wasn't convinced. He thought tennis was nothing more than a pastime, not a career. Still, seeing his son's determination, he made a deal. René could pursue tennis, but only if he became a world champion within 5 years. It was a bold condition, but René accepted it. He began an intense training regimen, practicing relentlessly. In 1922, he entered his first major competition, the Wimbledon Championship. Unfortunately, he lost in the first round. The pressure from his father's challenge weighed heavily on him, but René refused to give up. The following year, he traveled to the United States to compete again, this time making it to the fourth round before losing narrowly. Progress was slow, but steady. By 1923, his effort began to pay off. René was selected to play for France's Davis Cup team, alongside Jean Boutrata, Jacques Brougon, and Henri Cochet. The four were so talented that fans nicknamed them the Four Musketeers. In 1925, René reached his first major final at Wimbledon, but lost to Boutrata. The defeat only fueled him further. Later that year, he claimed the French championship title. And the next year, at Wimbledon again, he faced Boutrata in a rematch. And this time, René Lacoste emerged victorious. He had finally fulfilled his father's challenge and proven himself as one of the best. But tennis greatness was only the beginning. Through his dedication to the sport, René developed a playing style unlike any other. He was calm, calculating, and relentless, often staying deep behind the court, waiting for his moment to strike. During the 1926 Davis Cup final between France and the United States, American journalists noticed his patient and fierce style, likening him to a crocodile, always stalking, never letting go. The nickname the Crocodile stuck, and René embraced it completely. Later that year, when the French team captain promised him a crocodile skin suitcase if he won an important match, he did just that. To celebrate, his friend Robert George designed a small green crocodile emblem and stitched it on his blazer. He wore it proudly, not realizing that a symbol of personal triumph would soon become one of fashion's most recognizable logos. After years of competing, René noticed something else. The long-sleeved button-up shirts players wore were stiff and uncomfortable. They restricted movement. So he began experimenting with a new design, a short-sleeved, breathable knit polo that offered freedom and style. In 1933, he partnered with André Gillier, owner of one of France's largest textile firms, to produce shirts embroidered with the crocodile emblem. Together, they launched La Société Chemise Lacoste, and the Lacoste brand was born. René's polo shirt revolutionized sportswear. It was light, elegant, and functional, the perfect blend of performance and fashion. Over time, it transcended the tennis court, becoming a global symbol of refined casual wear. In the 1950s, Lacoste partnered with an American company called Izod to bring the shirts to the U.S. market. Together, they launched Izod Lacoste, expanding the brand's reach across the Atlantic. Soon, Lacoste shirts came in more colors, and their popularity exploded through the 1970s and 80s. Competition tried to imitate the crocodile. Even rival brands used other animals, but none could match Lacoste's iconic simplicity. By then, the green crocodile had become a mark of class and quiet confidence. René eventually retired from tennis in the early 1930s, but his creative spirit didn't fade. In the 1960s, he invented a steel tennis racket, a revolutionary piece of equipment that top players like Jimmy Connors later used to dominate the game. His influence in both sports and innovation remained unmatched. After René stepped back, his son Bernard Lacoste took over leadership in 1964. Under Bernard, the company expanded further, though its U.S. identity became slightly confused as people began calling the shirt simply Izod. Eventually, financial troubles led Izod's parent company to sell their share, returning Lacoste's rights fully to France in 1993. By the late 1990s, Lacoste had reclaimed its full global identity. The crocodile was home again. René Lacoste passed away on October 12, 1996, at 92 years old. His passing marked an end of an era, but his spirit lived on through the brand that bore his name. The company evolved under new creative directors, transitioning from a pure sportswear label to a full-fledged luxury fashion house. By the 2000s, Lacoste was producing footwear, eyewear, perfume, leather goods, and more, all bearing the unmistakable crocodile. In 2017, tennis star Novak Djokovic was named the new face of Lacoste, proudly taking on the title The New Crocodile. He carried René's legacy forward, embodying the same grace, discipline, and determination that defined the brand's origin. Lacoste's story began as a joke, but it became an empire worth billions. So, the next time you see that small green crocodile stitched on someone's shirt, remember it all started with a young man in Paris who refused to give up. A man who turned determination into design and a nickname into a legacy that the world will never forget.